No. No, you can't. Stop! Please don't go away. Please? No one's ever stuck with me for so long before. And if you leave, I remember things better with you. I do. Look, P. Sherman, 42, 42. I remember it. I do. It's there. I know it is. Because when I look at you, I can feel it. And I look at you and I'm home. Please. I don't want that to go away. I don't want to forget. In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and their selves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. But there are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is in the discovery and defense of the new. The world is often unkind to new talent, new creations. The new needs friends. Last night, I experienced something new. An extraordinary meal from a singularly unexpected source. To say that both the meal and its maker have challenged my preconceptions about fine cooking is a gross understatement. They have rocked me to my core. In the past, I have made no secret of my disdain for Chef Gusteau's famous motto, "Anyone can cook." But I realize, only now do I truly understand what he meant. Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. It is difficult to imagine more humble origins than those of the genius now working at Gusteau's, who is, in this critic's opinion, nothing less than the finest chef in France. I will be returning to Gusteau's soon, hungry for more. You don't know how it happened. I get it. There's a reason they want you to explain how you did it. It's because it doesn't make sense. Rose Quartz is flawed, I grant you. A shallow stratagem who turned against her own kind out of a misguided attachment to a planet and creatures like these. It's indisputable that as the diamond overseeing Earth, Pink was Rose Quartz's enemy. Rose had everything to gain by shattering her. But even though she may have wanted to shatter Pink Diamond, could she? Blue Diamond, for the purpose of this argument, may I present your palanquin? Now, as the records show, Pink Diamond was shattered just outside a palanquin, much like this. Witnesses say Pink had just stepped out and had only taken a few steps forward when Rose attacked her from the front. But the question no one seems to be asking is, how? And right you are to ask, my diamond, because at that time that Pink was shattered, Rose Quartz had been a recognized threat for several hundred years. There were no Rose Quartz soldiers in her entourage, and none in her guard. So how did a Rose Quartz, with no business being anywhere near Pink Diamond, get so close in the first place? Where were Pink Diamond's attendants? Her agates, her sapphires? And where was her pearl? But none of them saw Rose Quartz approach? Wouldn't her sapphires have seen Rose Quartz coming? Wouldn't her agates have tried to fight her off? Even if she did, wouldn't her pearl have cried out in alarm, "Watch out, my diamond!" No. Whoever did this was already close to Pink Diamond. Someone her guards would allow to get near her. Someone she would listen to when asked to stop her palanquin and step outside. And someone with the authority to cover it up afterwards. Someone with supreme authority. Someone like one of you! Disregard that last statement. I might have gotten carried away. Would you look at yourself? You care more about that weed than about all the people in Nineveh. Why are you here now, instead of back in the belly of that whale? Because God is compassionate. He wanted to help you. And because he is merciful, he gave you a second chance. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe God loves everybody, not just you? That maybe he wants to give everyone a second chance? He saw that those people needed help, that they didn't know right from wrong, and he wanted to help them. And that is why he sent you. And when you told them what they were doing wrong, they said they were sorry. They put down their mackerels and their halibuts, and they asked God for a second chance. And by golly, he gave them one. Don't you see? God wants to give everyone a second chance. And so should we. You are pathetic. You know, patience runs very deep in my family, but not that deep. I'm out of here. I wanted to be big and important, just like you. But the world doesn't need more people who are big and important. The world needs more people who are nice and compassionate and merciful. That's what I want to be. You can find yourself a new traveling buddy. Goodbye. Wait! Don't you see what you're doing? God gave you directions and you're ignoring them. Don't you remember what happened when you were supposed to go into the promised land, but you got scared and ran away instead? Because you didn't follow God's directions, you had to stay in the desert for 40 years. I know God's directions don't always make sense to us, but things work out a lot better when we do them God's way instead of trying to do things our own way. It didn't make sense when God told you to walk right through the Red Sea, but what happened? The water dried up. And it didn't make sense when God told you to live in the desert, even though there's no food in the desert. But what happened? God gave you manna to eat. Don't you see? Sometimes God asks us to do things that don't make sense to us, like walking around a city to make the walls fall down, or being nice to someone who hasn't been nice to us. But when we remember that God made us, and loves us, and always wants what's best for us, we can be sure that his way is the best way. The end of another year. There is much that I would like to say to you all tonight, but I must first acknowledge the loss of a very fine person who should be sitting here, enjoying our feast with us. I would like you all, please, to stand and raise your glasses to Cedric Diggory. Cedric was a person who exemplified many of the qualities that distinguish Hufflepuff House. He was a good and loyal friend, a hard worker. He valued fair play. His death has affected you all, whether you knew him well or not. I think that you have the right, therefore, to know exactly how it came about. Cedric Diggory was murdered by Lord Voldemort. The Ministry of Magic does not wish me to tell you this. It is possible that some of your parents will be horrified that I have done so, either because they will not believe that Lord Voldemort has returned, or because they think I should not tell you so, young as you are. It is my belief, however, that the truth is generally preferable to lies, and that any attempt to pretend that Cedric died as a result of an accident or some sort of blunder of his own is an insult to his memory. There is somebody else who must be mentioned in connection with Cedric's death. I am talking, of course, about Harry Potter. Harry Potter managed to escape Lord Voldemort. He risked his own life to return Cedric's body to Hogwarts. He showed, in every respect, the sort of bravery that few wizards have ever shown in facing Lord Voldemort. And for this, I honor him. The Triwizard Tournament's aim was to further and promote magical understanding. In the light of what has happened, of Lord Voldemort's return, such ties are more important than ever before. Every guest in this hall will be welcome back here at any time, should they wish to come. I say to you all, once again, in the light of Lord Voldemort's return, we are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. Lord Voldemort's gift for spreading discord and enmity is very great. We can fight it only by showing an equally strong bond of friendship and trust. Differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open. It is my belief, and never have I so hoped that I am mistaken, that we are all facing dark and difficult times. Some of you in this hall have already suffered directly at the hands of Lord Voldemort. Many of your families have been torn asunder. A week ago, a student was taken from our midst. Remember, Cedric. Remember, if the time should come when you have to make a choice between what is right and what is easy, remember what happened to a boy who was good and kind and brave because he strayed across the path of Lord Voldemort. Remember Cedric Diggory.
Listen to me. You don't need me. You don't need the princesses, and you certainly don't need the elements. Fluttershy, you will always be kind. Applejack, you will always be honest. Rarity, you'll always be generous. And Rainbow Dash will be loyal as can be. Pinky will always bring laughter wherever she goes. And Twilight, you are, and always will be, the embodiment of magic. You lost sight of what's in front of you. You're here, together, willing to give everything you've got for Equestria. Nothing and no pony can ever take that away from you, because that's who you are.
Enough! Because of you, I almost lost my way. But every creature here has reminded me of the true power of friendship. There will always be darkness in the world, but there will also always be those who find the light. The Pillars knew this. That's why they created the elements of harmony. The elements showed me and my friends how strong our friendship could be. Together we worked to bring harmony to Equestria. But there will always be more to do, which is why we teach others about the magic of friendship. Others who will continue our mission after we are gone. Now I truly understand. The elements were just symbols. The real magic has always been right here. And the more who understand how powerful friendship is, the stronger we all will be. Together. Do you have any idea how many bylaws you broke in there? Actually, for once I can't, because there's so many! I tried to warn you. I can't keep associating with some pony who breaks every rule and causes chaos wherever she goes. I'm the sheriff! The law is the law, Sonny, and I'm here to uphold it and keep every pony safe. Come on, Sonny, what'd you think was going to happen? You give a little speech and what? Every pony just magically welcomes unicorns and Pegasi to Maritime Bay? You keep saying there's nothing to be afraid of. Well, then prove it! All that Pony Unity stuff was just a fool's bedtime story made up by your dad. Like it or not, this is the way it is, and always will be. I'm the last real friend you got in this town. You really want to lose me too? I understand now. It's not the crystals that need to be brought together. It's us. We can bring back everything that was lost. But it's up to us. We can stay separated by fear and distrust. Or we can choose friendship. We can choose love. That's the true magic. One word, ma'am. One word. All you've been saying is quite right, I shouldn't wonder. I'm a chap who always like to know the worst, and then put the best face I can on it. So I won't deny any of what you said. But there's one thing more to be said, even so. Suppose we have only dreamed, or made up all those things. Trees and grass and sun and moon and stars and Aslan himself. Suppose we have. Then all I can say is that, in that case, the made-up things seem a good deal more important than the real ones. Suppose this black pit of a kingdom of yours is the only world. Well, it strikes me as a pretty poor one. And that's a funny thing, when you come to think of it. We're just babies making up a game, if you're right. But 4 babies playing a game can make a play world which licks your real world hollow. That's why I'm going to stand by the play world. I'm on Aslan's side, even if there isn't any Aslan to lead it. I'm going to live as like a Narnian as I can, even if there isn't any Narnia. So, thanking you kindly for our supper, if these 2 gentlemen and the young lady are ready, we're leaving your court at once, and setting out in the dark to spend our lives looking for Overland. Not that our lives will be very long, I should think, but that small loss of the world's as dull a place as you say. Right-ho, governor. Now I'll give you the facts of the case. For when Toady escaped from his boudoir, he'd come in straight for my place. Soon we was off down the highway, but hadn't gone far, I confess, when all of a sudden, with a rush and a roar, something passed like the London Express. It was big, it was red, it was beautiful. A motor car! Here, Bill, all right! Toady was transfixed with rapture. You could tell it was love at first sight. The motor pulled up to a tavern, wherein was located a bar, and we watched while some tough-looking weasels got out of that lovely red car. Now, weasels, I know, are deceitful, and not to be trusted at all. But how could I know they'd stolen that car? I didn't have no crystal ball. And the governor, he's not one to dally. He'd made up his mind like a flash. He says, "Try it for size, my good Cyril, while I see what they'll take for it, cash." So into the tavern he saunters, where the barman was back at the bar. And he said, "Cheerio, tavern keeper. Who's the owner of that hot-looking car?" The barman, a codger named Winky, leaned over the bar and said, "Why?" The governor answered, "That car must be mine. Whatever the price is, I'll buy." But Toad found he had no money, so he promptly offered a trade. The weasels appeared to be willing. In a moment, the bargain was made. Then Toady drew up a paper with almost incredible speed, and he called on old Winky the barman to pop over and witness the deed. Now the governor's not a bit stingy. He never does anything small. The weasels gave him the red motor car, and he gave the weasels Toad all! Tell me if this story sounds familiar. Naive little hick with good grades and big ideas decides, "Hey, look at me! I'm gonna move to Zootopia, where predators and prey live in harmony and sing Kumbaya!" Only to find, whoopsie, we don't all get along. And that dream of becoming a big city cop? Double whoopsie, she's a meter maid. And whoopsie number 3Z, no one cares about her or her dreams. And soon enough, those dreams die and our bunny sinks to emotional and literal squalor, living in a box under a bridge. Till finally, she has no choice but to go back home with that cute fuzzy-wuzzy tail between her legs to become... You're from Bunnyborough, is that what you said? So how about a carrot farmer? That sound about right? Alright, look. Everyone comes to Zootopia thinking they can be anything they want. Well, you can't. You can only be what you are. Sly Fox? Dumb Bunny. Right. And that's not wet cement. You'll never be a real cop. You're a cute meter maid, though. Maybe a supervisor one day. Hang in there. No. Sorry. What I said was no. She will not be giving you that badge. Look, You gave her a clown vest and a three-wheeled joke-mobile and 2 days to solve a case you guys haven't cracked in 2 weeks? Yeah, no wonder she needed to get help from a fox. None of you guys were going to help her, were you? Here's the thing, Chief. You gave her the 48 hours, so technically we still have 10 left to find our Mr. Otterton. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So if you'll excuse us, we have a very big lead to follow and a case to crack. Good day. When I was a kid, I thought Zootopia was this perfect place where everyone got along and anyone could be anything. Turns out, real life is a little bit more complicated than a slogan on a bumper sticker. Real life is messy. We all have limitations. We all make mistakes. Which means, hey, glass half full, we all have a lot in common. And the more we try to understand one another, the more exceptional each of us will be. But we have to try. So no matter what type of animal you are, from the biggest elephant to our first fox, I implore you, try. Try to make the world a better place. Look inside yourself and recognize that change starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with all of us. My dear people, my dear Bagginses and Boffins, and my dear Tooks and Brandybucks, and Grubs, and Chubs, and Burrowses, and Hornblowers, and Bulgers, Bracegirdles, Good Bodies, Brockhouses, and Proudfoots. Also, my good Sackville Bagginses, that I welcome back at last to Bag End. Today is my 111th birthday. I am 11-1 today. I hope you are all enjoying yourselves as much as I am. I shall not keep you long. I have called you all together for a purpose. Indeed, for 3 purposes. First of all, to tell you that I am immensely fond of you all, and that 11-1 years is too short a time to live among such excellent and admirable hobbits. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. Secondly, to celebrate my birthday. I should say, our birthday, for it is, of course, also the birthday of my heir and nephew, Frodo. He comes of age and into his inheritance today. Together, we score 144. Your numbers were chosen to fit this remarkable total. 1 gross, if I may use the expression. It is also, if I may be allowed to refer to ancient history, the anniversary of my arrival by barrel at Esgaroth on the Long Lake. Though the fact that it was my birthday slipped my memory on that occasion. I was only 51 then, and birthdays did not seem so important. The banquet was very splendid, however, though I had a bad cold at the time, I remember, and could only say, "Thank you very much." I now repeat it more correctly. Thank you very much for coming to my little party. Thirdly, and finally, I wish to make an announcement! I regret to announce that, though, as I said, 11-1 years is far too short a time to spend among you, this is the end. I am going. I am leaving now. Goodbye!